About to go live. Sorry, I clicked that right when you said let me show you.
Hello.
Yo, hope everyone is doing well.
Or as well as can be if you're streaming us simultaneously with the softball game that is going on. I am Tierney Smith.
I'm Chad.
And we are the Sooners Miss live show here at Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football. And we are joined by
A staple of the network. One of the biggest channels. Are you the biggest channel on the network?
We are the largest channel on the network. Yep.
So OU fans, we can't let them have that moniker for long, especially when it comes to the game we play on when is that? It's September 6th, right?
Yep.
September 6th, 6:30 prime time. I'm pretty sure College Game Day will be there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But this is Mr. TJ Ronan of Michigan at the Voice of College Football. I know T already said that. I'm just doing a proper introduction here. And we're going to talk a lot about this Michigan-Oklahoma game coming up. I have some questions I'm interested in terms of just how the team looks coming from the Oklahoma side. Obviously, just an update on what the overall team, how it looks. You guys had a lot of people drafted this last year, and how replacements are working out in the portal and all that, and then hopefully give some of the Michigan side an update on the Oklahoma team as well.
Yeah, definitely very excited. I mean, this is obviously the matchup everyone's looking forward to like kind of get a gauge on what do we have next season. I mean, you guys have pretty big expectations with obviously John Mateer coming in and the new offensive coordinator, and Michigan has a lot to prove because last year wasn't a good year. We got Bryce Underwood coming in. You guys are going to be going against a true freshman quarterback, generational quarterback. That's the word. We know we got to see it on the field first. Words are words, actions are everything else. So yeah, I mean, like that game is going to be the barometer for Michigan fans, and we're really looking forward to it.
It's interesting. It's if it's one of those things where if it wasn't, there's so many interesting little stories in there because you have a true, like you're saying, a true freshman quarterback playing a night game in Norman, and I went and looked back today. OU's 8-2 at night games in Norman. The two they lost was Iowa State or Kansas State, Dylan Gabriel's first year, and then we lost to Tennessee last year actually. But they have a lot of big wins there. It's a place where they do fairly well. And then you look at what OU has returning on the defensive side. So you have a guy like Bryce Underwood who like you're saying, number one quarterback in the country, by all accounts is going to be an absolute phenom. And obviously, and I'm assuming he's going to show it on the field, but coming and playing a BV defense on the road at night.
Right.
Talk about a welcome to college football. But also, you talk about a stage where he could tell college football, "Welcome to me, welcome to who I am."
Exactly. No, and it's a major debate right now for our fan bases because we had another quarterback they brought in named Mikey Keene who started at Fresno State, and I was actually of the position that Mikey Keene needs to start the year. We need to allow Bryce Underwood to kind of ease himself into it because it's not often a true freshman comes in and excels. Dylan Raiola last year had a hell of a tough year. So there's going to be growing pains. This kid, by the way, he's only 17. He doesn't even turn 18 until August. So like he's young for his age group. He's just he's a very he is generation there. They say he's the best quarterback prospect since Trevor Lawrence. We'll see. Trevor Lawrence did really well, but Clemson had a stronger roster. We have some question marks. And I know we'll get into it, but just throw it out there. Our weakness is left tackle. That's a problem. That's a concern. But we'll see how the young kids. You're right. So, the counter position is, what if he shows the college football world that he can handle the bright lights and the stage and he excels. Like we talk about this on the Michigan channel is that, when that drive happens where he wills us to victory, it's going to be one of the craziest things because it's going to be that moment that you're like, okay, he's ready,
Absolutely.
Right. No, I kind of just got excited thinking about having you guys having a weak left tackle position or a question mark because I'm like, oh, we got R. Mason Thomas coming back. We got Robert
Yeah.
Spears Jennings. Like, we got Kip Lewis. Like, I was like, man, we got a lot of people. And if your insurance on your quarterback is questionable, that's tough. As we know, because our offensive line all year last year was injured, question marks, rotating.
Yeah,
and
it was
caused our truish freshman quarterbacks to really, really struggle.
Yeah, I mean, number one for any quarterback, and that you're so right about the Trevor Lawrence comparisons that you hear. I heard it a lot with, I don't want to say, not necessarily Michael Hawkins. Sorry, I was thinking Michael Evers because we had a recruit with Michael in the E at the end of his last name, and I cannot get his name out of my head. And there were people talking about just a true freshman can go out and win it and do all this other great stuff, and people forget like that roster. Trevor Lawrence was on a podcast I think with Dak Prescott
Right.
with Micah Parsons and those guys, and he goes through that roster and he's like, people don't realize that 2018 Clemson team, and I don't think it is. I'd take probably 2019 LSU. But like 2018 Michigan, Clemson, that's like one of the greatest teams to ever be assembled. And he goes through all the NFL players. They had like 12 that are still legitimate starters and minutes guys in the league off that one team. And it's like Trevor goes, I was cool to win as a true freshman, but really I didn't have to do much. It was like the three keys Belichick always says with quarterbacks. It's like don't take negative plays, and you can't get the ball moving forward until it's out of your hands, and then just don't turn the ball over. Because if you can do those three things as a young quarterback, you'll be successful. And that's what he was able to do because you have talent around you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like the defense is going to be elite. Like, so we're very confident in that. It was a top 10 defense last year. It only got better as the year went on. Now, we did lose like the Mason Grahams, the Kenneth Grants, the Will Johnsons. We did, but we are deep. And as crazy as this sounds, our defensive line, although we lose Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, who are first round picks, we're deeper this year. We should have an 8-9 man rotation. That's what Michigan excels at, is constantly rotating that defensive line. We got some big time transfers from Clemson and Alabama that are going to only bolster the defensive line. And so defense, we should be good. The question marks, it is left tackle, it's wide receiver. Because we do have a primary X wide receiver in Donovan McCulley. We're expecting a big year out of him. But then who's going to be that secondary option? We don't know yet. Now, our running game is also going to be a strength like it always is. We have Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall. They're going to be battling RB1. And we're also split as a community. Who's going to be RB1? Is it going to be Justice Haynes? Is it going to be Jordan Marshall? And it is a 1A, 1B, but let's just be honest. Somebody is 1A. Right. So that's a debate amongst the community. I'm on the team Justice Haynes. He's also from Alabama. He was the number one portal running back coming out of in the portal in December. But so we have a lot of weapons, but there are these weak points that, and I've looked at your guys' team. I think, defensively, you guys are a top 20 defense. You return a lot of guys. You should be a good defense next year. Offensively, this is going to be interesting because Wink Martindale doesn't have film on this. Mm-hmm. So it's really, and week one, nobody's showing their cards.
No. And it all comes down to with on the OU side, at least for those that are, obviously you're not going to keep up with teams that aren't your team like you can. It's all just right now expectation and until since Mateer has been a guy that's proven it a little bit, and obviously not at an SEC level, but he's proven that those kind of stats that he had. I think he was one of 15 quarterbacks that I think have the stat here. I'll read it off real quick, but of like 15 quarterbacks that have had 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 9 yards per pass, and no more than 10 turnovers. That includes a group of 13 players selected in the first 15 picks of the draft, 6 Heisman winners, and 8 more finalists. And Mateer missed the club by 36 yards. So I mean, he puts up numbers that are. Obviously, the talent he's playing isn't going to be a Michigan defense. And if any OU fan ever says that, they're just hyping up. Fair enough, they're hyping up the player. But also, he's coming to a team that has a lot more talent than he had at Washington State. On paper, you would hope at least. Yeah. And so for OU fans, it's this thing like we know we have a defense good enough to win any game we play. As you saw last year, though, the offense just can't be. And I was going to ask you on the Michigan side too. Where we went wrong, and I've always said the difference between excuses and reasons. like we had 5 starting receivers out. We had 11 different starting offensive line iterations through 12 games because of injury. Like we didn't have the same starting line until I think week 8, and then at week 9 we had a different starting lineup. So I mean they were just beat up, and that really hurt us. Now Jackson Arnold did a lot with a bad deck of cards that he shouldn't have done, but I'm wondering, like on the Michigan side, your defense obviously, like you were saying, was unbelievable last year. It was really good, national championship level good again.
I know.
I think, in my opinion,
We
what was it?
We wasted it. Yeah.
What was it on the offensive side? Was it just a quarterback thing, or was it what are you seeing as a guy who knows the team, or just what are you seeing on that side that kind of was the biggest?
Well, the biggest flaw is we didn't have a true offensive coordinator. We had a first-time offensive coordinator who just, he was the quarterback coach when we won our national title. He was JJ. JJ had high praise, and he did. And like he's a good quarterback coach. Like that's what he is. But he's not an offensive coordinator, and he was terrible. On top of that, we had a quarterback problem. Now, Kirk Campbell, who was the offensive coordinator, he sold to Sharon Moore that I can develop these guys because look at what I did with JJ. I made JJ. He did. He made JJ take that next step, and from mechanics and just what to look on the field, footwork, everything. Like he's a very good quarterback coach. But then he sold to Sharon that I can make Davis Warren, Alex Orji. I can develop these guys. And the reality was Alex Orji couldn't throw a ball. Davis Warren had an interception problem. I mean, our offense was a joke. We literally, if you looked at the receivers, their biggest games were 30-yard games, 3 catches, 30 yards. It was a lot. I mean, like we beat Ohio State by scoring 13 points. Yeah. It's our offense was. If we had, I'll tell you this, and this is something we talk about all the time on the Michigan channel. If we had Bryce Underwood last year, we would have been a playoff team. Mm-hmm. We were a quarterback, and an offensive coordinator, and a right tackle. So we had a right tackle issue last year as well. But we have that's resolved. We have Andrew Sprague. He's a top 100 big time player who started at the end of the year and played really well, and he'll be there this year. But yeah, I mean, we didn't have. Sharon Moore as a first-year head coach, unfortunately, trusted the wrong people, and that's why we got burnt. So then we go and get my guy Chip Lindsey from North Carolina, who has had top 10 defenses. He also coached Drake May, who was a really good quarterback for North Carolina. Oh, yeah. So now we have an experienced offensive coordinator. We're hoping this is we really want a top 40 offense. I'm thinking. Given the lack of left tackle, I'm very, as you guys can tell, I'm low on our left tackle right now. That situation scares me. And then wide receiver, I don't know if we did enough there. So I'm hoping top 70 offense, and that's a big deal because we were an offense ranked in the 130s, guys.
I think only us was ranked. I mean, we were the worst ranked offense in the country.
Yeah.
And I think Mitch. Yeah, okay. Dude, we were.
All right.
Hey,
all right. We're friends then. All right, good deal.
Well, the funniest thing that it sounds like you're talking about OU with we fired our offensive coordinator midway through the season last year, Seth Luttrell, who was a fullbacks coach, head coach at North Texas before that, and led Mason Fine to set records in Division I, and so comes to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it's hard. My dad was a coach for 20 years at every level of football, 30 years for every level of football except the NFL. And I know how much just having your guys makes your team that much better. And so when you're going through what they went through on the injury side of things and the drama that caused, I don't know how much. I don't think Luttrell was a great play caller or anything like that, or anything like what Ben Arbuckle has seen or is going to show. Hopefully, I do think that he was hindered so much by just the injuries that plagued that whole off side of the ball that it's when you go from Pro Football Focus going into last year had OU as the number 7 returning unit and wide receiver unit, and they had 2 with Deion Burks and then Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson coming back. And all those guys that were just great production the year before, and then none of them played. Deion Burks played 2 games. Nick Anderson played 12 snaps the whole year. I think Angelo Anthony, I don't think ever even played, never made the field. And
Speaking
then
I literally,
I mean, it's so for both of us, we're so excited because it's what the possibility of next year just being healthy would be a big thing for both sides, right?
And I'm really excited too from our offensive standpoint is getting Ben Arbuckle, getting somebody like him that seems to be that mastermind, if you will, offensively. I know he's still young and he's still early in coaching, but what he's been able to do thus far in his short career, has been astronomical. And I think bringing in John Mateer, somebody who already knows his system, is also going to be a benefit to us versus him having to teach like a Michael Hawkins his whole system and go in there and try to execute it.
Right.
You have somebody who's able to already know it and lead through it. And that's one thing that I've liked when I've seen videos with OU football is John Mateer taking that true leadership role. It doesn't seem forced.
Yeah. And there's just a swag to him that's
yes,
just different.
And
when you know you're a
to,
guy,
and you
know,
want
like,
to follow him type thing. And I think that's so high on players. We had Kendall Dolby on our show, and he himself said John Mateer's a dog. He's a leader. His energy is amazing. Last year, offense didn't have that. They hated going against us, and we beat them up every day in practice. He goes, now it's a dog fight. They have fight. They have a new energy. So
you would have liked it. Kendall Dolby was laughing, and he didn't laugh, but finally he's like, it's just different because this year he's like, I don't want to talk bad. He goes, nah, man, I won't lie. We were cooking them on defense last year in practice. Yeah. But I bet for like Michigan, it was the same. I mean, it's so funny that the parallels are there for Michigan and whatnot.
Right.
And did it not feel like, I remember the Michigan-Texas game, and everyone was making it this whole like, oh, Michigan, and I get so mad when teams lose what y'all lost from the championship. I mean, y'all are up there for greatest teams ever too. I mean, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, at least in the conversation, you're not crazy for bringing that team up. They went undefeated and won a championship.
I know. And dealt with all the sideshow stuff at the same time.
That's it, yeah. And then I almost like was rooting for y'all halfway through there because I was like, dude, if y'all think every team has someone that is doing at least dabbling, maybe just weren't as good, you know. And I'm sorry. I mean, like.
I don't know if you guys heard about the Excel sheet that Ohio State, Illinois, and Rutgers were passing around.
No, tell us.
So check this out. So there was a staffer from Illinois who came to Michigan and said, are you guys aware of this? And essentially, you know, every team has a sign guy. Now, obviously, you know, Connor Steins was doing things an extra step by sending friends to games, that extra step. But every team has a guy on the sidelines who's deciphering the other team's signals. This has gone back for a long time. So apparently these sign guys, which it's like this like circle of people, every team knows each other's sign guy. They were communicating with one another when when Rutgers played Michigan early in the year, they would take the signs that they got from the game. They would then pass it to Illinois. Illinois, same thing. Wow. Sign guy. They have this Excel sheet. They're building on it. They're adding all the signs. They're all collaborating on this Excel sheet, giving it to Ohio State. Ohio State had our signs. That's why they were smoking us in 18 and 19 when it was like 60-30. Like they had our signs. Don Brown, who was our defensive coordinator, famously stubborn, would not change his signals. So they knew what he was doing. That's why they were killing him on those under routes. And yeah, so there was so how is that not advanced scouting? Like that's the argument a lot of Michigan fans have is like, okay, so you have these professional code breakers literally collaborating, watching games, not from the stands, from the sideline, passing an Excel sheet to each other where Connor Steins has a friend in the stand with a video camera and Connor's doing all the deciphering, right? So that's like the argument in Michigan. So like there's gray area there, of course. But at the end of the day, like teams are pushing limits and they're all trying to get each other's signs, man. You know, like, so, you know, and the rivals, they love to carry, because it's all they have. We're 4-0 on them the last 4 years. So they're hanging on to it. But anyways, the point being is like, college football, everyone's playing, they're doing, you know, you're in the SEC, you guys, you know,
teams are so talented. Like the margins, as much as like there are teams certainly with more talent, but at the highest levels, like the Michigans, hopefully in Oklahoma and Michigan next year, we're the better teams in the country again, as we traditionally are. But at that level, you're looking for little ways to get an advantage, right? And every team's doing it. I don't know, and and if every team had to show like their most gray area, if you will, operations, no one would look good. You know, there's a reason why they're.
I tell people all the time, if people knew what was really happening behind this, they'd be sick. Here's a story we know about that came a little like. There's a player that Ohio State had. I know my guy Juju is in the chat. He'll know. Wide receiver from Ohio State. He was going to visit Michigan. Ohio State. He was on a visit with Ohio State. He was going to come to Michigan the next day, and Ryan Day literally told the kid, if you go visit Michigan, we're pulling your scholarship. You know, stuff like that. You know, like. You know, it's just and like we all know, like the Quincy Porter, my guy Juju knows Quincy Porter, and like
awesome.
So we know about the McDonald's bags. I mean, look at what happened in basketball with the FBI wiretapping. Like, there's so much, and like Imagine what we don't know. And we all know like the stuff with the Miami and the yachts and then the private parties and stuff, you know. So boosters
just-
have been around for a long. Go on.
Sorry, I got to get your opinion on the. And I don't know if I was more. I don't know if I rooted for Michigan more because there's the Connor Stallions thing, and I'm like, look, everybody has. I don't know. He might have gone too far, or he might have gone the next step, but that's still his own work going the next step. It's not like anyone else could. Oh, you could have had a guy that was that. I would do it for Oklahoma if it had got us a national championship. I tell fans that all the time.
Yeah.
Hate me all you want. I would have done it. And then I think like I look at them going after Michigan for that. And I remember like the Harbaugh stuff, like the hamburger stories and all that. And I'm just thinking, dude, like why y'all keep going at why, you know?
Yeah, I know. And the hamburger is insane. Okay, he bought for those who don't know, and maybe some of your fans, he literally bought a kid a cheeseburger, and that was an issue. And then there was another issue where he watched. This was during COVID, where they watched a kid do a workout on a virtual. Now, what people don't know about that story is the recruit's brother was handicapped. And the kid wanted to show Harbaugh what like push-ups and workouts and like that, what he could do. So like, it was more like, it wasn't, you know, I mean, sure, it was a bonding experience. Right. And like, but at the same time, like, come on. And like, when you have rumors of Texas giving Arch Manning 500K unofficial visits, which is illegal. And this is, you know, you're not supposed to do anything on unofficial visits. You're not even supposed to pay for their hotel room or anything, right? And then, you know, we know what's going on, like, you know, with the paying of players, the cars, the Lambos, and we're worried about a cheeseburger. Like, that's what the NCAA is going on. And the only reason why that got out, by the way, is because we had a former recruiting director named Matt Dudek who went to, I think, either Ole Miss or Mississippi State, one of the two, after we fired him because he botched the Xavier Worthy recruitment. That's why Xavier Worthy went to Texas, by the way. He committed to us. And yeah, he botched it. He screwed up with the roster count, and he couldn't get into school for the winter semester and whatever. But so he snitched on Michigan over that to the NCAA, and that's how they found out about it. And like, it's just crazy. Wow. Like, yeah, and what's crazy about it is like it's a cheese, like it's, you know, like $20.
What's
to
funny,
any of you fans, like, he's not being hyperbolic. It was literally a cheeseburger. Like,
and what's funny is, like, to me, that's such like an old school thing, because we were talking with Trevor Knight, and he was saying like they went to like a spaghetti dinner at one point, and because some guys got an extra plate of spaghetti,
Gabe Eichert was one of them.
Yeah, they had to pay them back for freaking spaghetti.
They had to report it and pay back the value of the spaghetti. It's like
how is that like why is that what the NCAA is worried about when you have teams literally contacting players like Texas did to Xavier Worthy, who was on scholarship? How many coaches do we have talking about, oh, players are being tampered with? NCAA does nothing about that.
Nothing,
dude. And it is and we've had a couple videos, streams on just NIL and kind of the lawsuits that have popped up, and then trying to go through those. And it's like, we know for a fact, and it happens to every team that has good players. You know, I'm sure people were in Will Johnson's DMs, you know, after his sophomore year, you know, saying, we'll give you 5. We know for a fact a couple, I won't say who, but a couple of our biggest defensive linemen, players, I'll just say, were reached out. Ohio State offered one of them $2 million right after, it was before even our bowl game. It's like, I mean, and so they tried to, you know, in the NCAA, I've always said, like, they get a bad rap, and they're not perfect, but they have been hamstrung by courts. Because every time they've tried to implement a rule, it's just seen as a restriction on NIL capabilities, and it's always an injunction. Like, they try to put a rule in that you can't entice players on a visit how much they'll get with NIL if they come there. And they said, look, when a player comes in, our rule is that you cannot tell them you'll get X from NIL, you'll get X from, like, that's our rule. Well, the next day it's held up. It has an injunction put on it, because if you don't allow, the court said by not allowing a player to know that, it limits how much they can make from other schools to basically argue and try to get a higher salary. And it's like, all right, well, I mean, at some point they're like, we can't do a thing. It seems like, because everything you could say everything under the sun is a restriction in a sense. Right.
And the real solution is there's going to need to be a collective bargaining agreement, and we're going to need a commission. That's just
and
the
I used
reality.
to be against that, but you're right. You're right. It's just, I don't see how else you get through it. I really don't see how else you can do it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's so far out and then now, I mean, did you guys hear about what Cooper Flagg got at Duke last year? His two sponsorship deals, $38 million in NIL deals 1 year, $38 million in NIL deals. because he's from. Isn't he from? I heard he's like from Maine, right?
Maine, yeah. There's a
So he
hilarious.
got to deal
run-
with New Balance, who's from
Yeah.
Maine.
Yeah.
And it was like a $18 million deal, and then he had another deal with another company that was like, yeah. So he had like 38 million in total NIL, which is crazy. You know?
Are y'all having? I know Michigan has a huge alumni base. Do y'all have
Yeah.
the same? I feel like every school has the same conversations, maybe with the fans. Like, we need more money. We're not doing enough.
Oh.
We need more. Do y'all have the same, or is it pretty? Are y'all pretty comfortable as a
Pretty deep.
fan group? I mean,
We used to have that problem. So
Mhm.
we had it's a great question. And our fan base is actually, we all love it. But so previously, well, our administration was very slow to do adopting NIL. They had the stubborn approach of, well, we're Michigan, we don't need to pay players. And that was the approach up until last year, March. That changed. Thanks to our president, who's now no longer with us though, but he really pushed that forward. He now went to Florida for political reasons. We don't got to get into that, but our regents literally went against our president. It's kind of wild, the story. Maybe I'll tell you off camera, but anyways, but so we would only pay our own players to not go to the draft. So that was kind of Michigan's policy. They would pay their own guys to not, but then they realized, because we were starting to suffer in the recruiting rankings, like 18th ranked classes, 17th ranked classes, like you can't compete at that level, right? So then as of March of last year, the regents, the president, the AD, everybody was on board. Like, all right, we'll start offering high school kids and portal players NIL. Then around September of last year, we get a mega donor. Have you guys heard about? Do you guys know who Henry Ellison or
yeah. Mark
Larry Ellison?
Larry Ellison, yeah, from Oracle.
Oracle.
Yeah.
So his wife is Jolynn. Jolynn went to Michigan, and that's how we got Underwood. By the way, that's how we got Underwood. So
didn't Portnoy donate a little bit, like, or is that just rumored? I don't know.
The only thing Portnoy did is he because of his vocal position,
right? Yeah.
Jolynn got in contact with Dave Portnoy, and then they were talking about, okay, what do we need to do? Like, what do we need to do? And Dave Portnoy was like, well, we got to go after Bryce Underwood because he's the number one kid. He's in our own backyard, but essentially what Dave Portnoy did is he offered all of his merchandise that's sold through Barstool is 100% of the profits go to Underwood.
Oh, okay.
So that's what he offered.
That's a lot.
That's pretty good, yeah.
So, and then what Underwood got from the Ellisons was 3.5, or it was 12.5 million over 4 years.
Jeez.
It was $1 million more a year than what LSU offered.
And worth it, especially if he gives y'all one championship. I mean, well, say he gives you 2 good playoff runs, you make your money back in spades on that.
Yeah.
Like you make more than enough.
So what's interesting is, because of the Ellisons, who, for those who don't know, he's the 4th richest man in the world. And apparently they've promised Michigan athletics X amount of, like, there's a number, I've heard a range. It's like 20 to 40 million every year.
That's crazy.
So, and then Michigan also has a very wealthy alumni. So what's funny is, and we were talking about this on our show, they didn't try to get any money from the fans this year. This is the first year they've not asked for any fan donations to NIL. We just paid for it. I don't know if you guys were paying attention to the transfer portal for basketball. Yaxel Lendenborg, the number 1 transfer portal, he just declared he's coming to Michigan, not pursuing the NBA draft. He's the number 1 player in the portal. We got him $4 million a year.
Wow.
So, but we're not Miami or Oregon where it's like blank check season. Like, they're a little bit more strategic than that.
Really, we're definitely not even that.
Yeah, I wish. Oklahoma does. I mean, obviously we do well, but we're in the top 10 usually. Like, I mean, but
it's just a
the
huge
problem
drop.
is, like, it's we have some people, some friends of ours who are donors and have told us kind of some inside baseball, but just the OU does really well with oil, when oil's booming, or oil and gas sales or prices are really doing well, but we just don't have the numbers, like a Michigan or a Texas or one of those teams that have all the donors. So we worry about donor fatigue setting in a little sooner than other schools. So that's just kind of, but everybody.
So it's amazing. I think it's interesting to me because, like, if you see what A&M is doing, or you see what Texas is doing, or Texas Tech, I mean, you would think Oklahoma has that same, like, why is Oklahoma not? Is it just because Texas is more oil rich, or like, what do you think that is?
I think it's just a number.
It's just
their schools are so much bigger. Their state is so much bigger.
There's
Dallas Fort Worth has more people than the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah,
like 5 million people in our entire state.
Okay.
And the city of Norman I mean, the city of Norman can fit in a stadium. It's like 85,000 people. Like it's not
Who's you?
it's
Yeah.
not big. So I think it's just more number of not so I think we've had a donor friend that says, we have maybe 10 donors that are in like worth hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Where like Texas and Texas Tech
Really?
A&M have like hundreds
Yeah.
of donors
Yeah.
worth hundreds of millions.
Right. Yeah, Michigan has a few in the billions. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Right.
Because like Stephen Ross, he owns the Miami Dolphins. He's a big donor, but although he has a stance where he says, "I'm not paying student athletes." We'll see.
Well, so and that's the thing. Like our wealthiest people in Oklahoma that are worth that are billionaires they're like Oklahoma University fans. They're
I know.
and
That's it.
they prefer the teams to be good, but they're not going to sit here and give.
Yeah.
Now a big thing that
I hate-
Stitt just did. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just our governor
Okay.
just signed a executive order that said, hey, because before OU could only donate money to players or give money to players that was specifically allocated to the athletics department. Now you can donate to the University of Oklahoma itself, and then they can do president's discretion. And of course, he can funnel as much as he wants to the athletics department now. So maybe some of that money will be freed up, and they won't have to feel like they're paying players. But yeah,
Yeah, my guy Kyoki. So Kyoki, you guys see him in the actually his son plays for Michigan. So shout out to Kyoki. What's
that's
up, man?
awesome.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you our community's pretty fun. We've had a lot of players' parents recently checking out the show, so that's been fun. But yeah, I mean, no, but to your point, I mean, it's well, now you guys are in the SEC though. I mean, do you guys have any concern that you guys can't keep up with the big dogs, or like what's your thoughts there?
I don't
don't-
no, not necessarily.
That
I
hasn't
mean,
really been an issue for me. My biggest concern is always like just more so Texas, and we're going to be with them no matter where we go.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
that is more my concern because we literally cannot keep up as far as NIL is concerned.
Yeah,
But it's just
but also it's not like
we
it's
also-
not like Oklahoma's.
at the end of the day, yeah, we still are Oklahoma. We still have the donors, and I still think
yeah,
again, last year, if we don't have our entire offense collapse and
Right.
be unavailable, who knows
Right.
what could have been necessarily. So I haven't really worried about it. Of course, I'm a women's sports person, so I think we're doing pretty fine there too. So, but
Not
it-
right
Well,
now,
listen,
it seems
do you guys
not
have
right
any
now,
insight?
but hey.
Do you guys
Yeah.
have any insight on your revenue share? Do you know how that's going to be dispersed?
Yeah, well, it'll depend on if the House settlement goes through or not, and if they'll be able to max out the yearly annual like budget every year. They'll be able to
Yeah, but are you-
22.5 or whatever. But
Have you guys heard about how much percentage is going to football versus basketball? Like, have you guys heard about the distribution?
no, they haven't. Mm,
So Michigan plans on doing 70% to football.
70.
Yeah, 70 to football, 15 to basketball, then the remaining to the other sports.
And I
So-
may have missed an announcement or so. I don't know if they've announced it yet.
Well,
I just know that
it's-
they've announced they'll be able to cap, or they'll be able to be.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's not really public, But some schools are like talking about like the concern for like us is like, is SEC going to go 100% football? Because a lot of universities with this NIL, they're going to cut out these other sports.
We were just talking about that. We were talking about that the other day. You're right. I mean,
They're going to.
why keep? And here's the problem. And the worry is if it's going to end up being just about money, it's hard to
will.
make an argument for any sport. I mean, Michigan has basketball. I'm sure, and OU actually the men's basketball team made profit this year.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, the third team that did was our softball team. But it took them 4 straight natties to get to value, to
Right.
get to
Right.
net revenue. But
which is not an easy.
yeah, you can't really repeat that every 4 years. So
Yeah.
it's just they're 100% like Oklahoma has like rowing. I'm worried about wrestling. I'm worried about like track and field
Yeah.
even.
Rowing
because
is-
yeah. I mean,
It's not generating. I know, like Michigan has 3 sports that either break even or are profitable. The football team, the basketball team, and the hockey team breaks even.
that's awesome. Hockey is
Everything
I
else
love
is a
that
net
too.
negative. Yeah.
Right.
T was cracking up during the USA can't like that Four Nations Cup, whatever
Oh, yeah,
it was. 'Cause
that-
for like 2 days, I was a diehard hockey fan.
Hell yeah.
Die hard.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It was good hockey, man. That was
Oh,
so
dude.
fun.
We
was
told
so-
ourselves that we would keep watching, but we failed.
I just don't know enough about it, and it's like hard
Yeah.
to invest. But they just won didn't they just win like a world tournament or something?
Yeah. There was the first win since like 80 some odd years. It was like the world championships
Wow.
that just happened. I missed that, unfortunately. They didn't market that one very well.
They didn't. I
Um,
had no idea. It was
Because
even
Chad
on.
would have been all about that for sure.
Yeah, the international hockey. Actually, I have a website for you. I'll text you it. Any
All right.
game you want. So like when these like national tournaments happen, you can check them out. Like you don't need like some special streaming thing. I
Oh,
got you.
sweet. Yeah.
Text you it. Yeah.
Sweet. Are there going back kind of just to the Michigan
Yeah.
team. Are there any players that we, as people looking at the team, might not notice or think to really look out for whenever we play y'all that you think can be guys that become household names or big time players for y'all? Kind of like those guys that fans see the talent and see, like, if he'd have just got his shot, he would have been the guy, but maybe for whatever, they couldn't get the ball thrown to him or something like that.
Well, the player you guys need to watch is going to be Donovan McCulley. He's our wide receiver. Like he said he left Indiana like 3 games into the year to save his eligibility. The year prior, he was all Big Ten honorable mention or something as like a freshman or whatever. He's big time. We're expecting a big year out of him. Mason Curtis, Brandon Hillman. I don't know if you guys are familiar with our linebackers at all, but Ernest Hausman and Jay Sean Barnum, they're going to be problems. I'm expecting them to have all Big Ten caliber years. Last year, towards the beginning of the year, they had a lot of trouble. As the year went on, they were playing at an elite level. Rayshawn Benny is the next one. So in terms of defensive line, Rayshawn Benny and TJ Guy, those are the next ones. Like Michigan's constantly producing these. There's always that steady stream of like first round guys. I'm not saying necessarily Rayshawn Benny and TJ Guy will be first round, but they will be day 2 the latest. Like they're big time players. Rayshawn Benny and TJ Guy. And then you notice I'm not saying a lot of offensive. I guess the names to know is our running backs, Jordan Marshall and Justice Haynes. So if your run game better be ready. Because that's how we're going to set the tone. Our team is going to come and try to out physical you. We're going to test your will. Like that's how Michigan operates, right? Like they'll take a slow, now we do have Chip Lindsey. So things might be different because there is words out of camp that Chip Lindsey's trying to push the ball a little bit, but we have a power run game. So our offensive line's going to test you guys. And then from there, they'll have to adapt. But if you guys can handle that initial test, that's your best bet of like disrupting the offenses. If you guys can handle that initial test of us running the ball, because they're going to A-gap it. They're literally going to send our running back straight to your linebacker and just see what you guys can do about it. Nothing fancy. They're not going to do no outside stuff. Although it's possible Chip throws me for a loop, but from all accounts, the power run game is staying in place on the offense. And then defensively, they're just going to play aggressive defense. Like we attack, we blitz. So one of the things that makes our defense so complex is our coverage disguises are NFL like quality coverage disguises. This is why when we play Ohio State or we play Alabama or any of these like top, or when we played against Washington in the national championship game, they don't know what's going on because these quarterbacks have never seen these coverage disguises. So we have a Baltimore Ravens defensive scheme. We've had 3 defensive coordinators, Mike McDonald, who is now the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, and Jesse Minter, who is now the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, who won defensive coordinator of the year. He had like the best defense in the NFL last year. So like this defensive scheme, and then Wink Martindale is our current defensive coordinator, who literally created this scheme for Baltimore in 2015. So he's now our defensive coordinator. So that's what makes us difficult. But yeah, the players I mentioned, those are kind of the ones that are, I would argue, need to know names going into this matchup.
Right. I think, that's kind of, you hear me say, shutting down the running game.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty much our game plan going into Alabama, especially with them having, now his name
Jaden
Milroe. I was like Jaden, and it was like going through like all these names in my head. Jaden Milroe, because he was a running quarterback, and we actually we were successful with that. So I'm hoping we have that same type of tenacity. And it seemed like for a lot of the teams, we did pretty well on run defense overall. It was just
we can't score.
We couldn't score. Our offense for South Carolina was giving up 14 points right away.
We were down 21-0 in like
5 minutes.
Less than 3 minutes of game time.
It was like 9 minutes and 30 seconds into the first quarter, and we were down 21-0 because we gave up.
There was an interception, and it was
a fumble to a touchdown and an interception to a touchdown, I believe.
Yeah, both of them, but it was wild, man.
And like the longest that our defense, like the longest defensive play, essentially, I think that there's only one time that South Carolina even had to go more than 40 yards. Because our offense was just giving it right back to them.
There was when we played Tennessee, I was still celebrating that strip sack that who got that? I think it was Ethan Downs or one of them that recovered it. And my friend, my brother-in-law and I are still celebrating that. And then Jackson Arnold fumbles the snap. I'm just like, I didn't even see them get the fumble because I was still celebrating. It happened that fast. It's like, how'd they get the ball back?
I was actually down in like the concession area because my best friend was having like essentially like a heat stroke panic attack type thing. And so I was with her, like, let's just go to get some water. And she was finally commenting, oh, look, we got a fumble. Let's go watch on the TVs. By the time we walked literally just like across the hall, if you will, I was like, well, maybe we didn't. Maybe I misread that. And then I saw that we fumbled. I was like, you got to be kidding.
Yeah.
And it was on like our own like 20, 30 yard line. Like we were, yeah. Well,
So-
I can't. I'm confused right now.
There are just for Oklahoma, like who we got out. So how do you say? I keeps jumping up. West Quad, Adams House.
Yeah,
Oh,
he played for Michigan. He played for Michigan.
That's
In
awesome.
the 90s,
So he's saying
yeah.
we got to shut down Taylor Tatum. Really, like what's funny is the two running backs that are going to be our 1 and 2 is Jaden Knott and then Xavier Robinson. Taylor Tatum plays. I still haven't ever figured out if he actually played baseball or not. I don't think he actually did. But what was tough about
Tatum, he was a big recruit.
number 1 running back
Yes, he was
last year,
gonna
yeah,
be-
out of high
Yeah,
school.
We were in on
baseball,
him. He
yeah.
wanted to play baseball. Oh, I forgot all about him.
Yeah. He was just so young. Yeah, he just needed another year in the weight room. Like when he got hit, he fumbled the ball. He had a fumble issue early in the season, but like he does have next level quick. Like you can tell, like there's talent there in
Do you
terms of
think
just quickness and all
Tatum?
that.
So you don't think he's going to see the field? He's not ready. You don't think he's ready to see the
He'll
field?
see the
yet?
field for sure. It's just the
I just
issue
think
is
that he's going to be
he'll be probably third
third,
string. He'll be
fourth
third
string.
off,
we have
because
Javonte Barnes coming
Yeah.
back as well.
so the running backs for Oklahoma will go. Jaden Knott will be starter, then Xavier Robinson, then Javonte Barnes and Tatum will probably be the 3, and it'll depend on probably game plan and how the game's going between the 2.
How do you
Listen, I hope I can be wrong. I could be wrong. I hope Tatum.
How do you guys feel about your
starts.
offensive line?
Offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, your offensive line specifically. Like, how do you guys feel
Line.
about it?
Not great. Partly because I just for whatever reason Oklahoma, and maybe every team feels this way, and I just think it's Oklahoma because we all just watch our team so much. Every year we have 2 or 3 offensive linemen that are injured and missing the first couple games, or maybe like whenever they get this guy back in week 4, we'll have everyone join. It's like, can we not go through a fall camp where we don't get people just mauled, where they can actually be healthy week 1 and 2, instead of it like this coming in this year. We had that Branson Hickman for center, and he was PFF's number 1 rated center going into this year. He transferred from SMU, I believe, but a smaller school, and he breaks has a high ankle sprain the first game, and then tries to come back and like breaks his ankle, I think.
Somebody had a broken
And
arm
so,
or
like-
collarbone or something.
Yeah, and so like he can't play. We have Jacob Sexton he tears an ACL.
Or
We
bicep.
had
What bicep? Hatchet.
Garen
Bicep?
Hatchett from TCU, or no, from Washington, one of the brothers, tears his bicep this, I think, second game, and he had to start like 9 games for it because we didn't have any other linemen. So it's just like, I don't know enough to say, and I don't know if any OU fan really does. On paper, they should be a lot better simply because they've gotten some guys in that are pretty solid, and they just have another year of experience in lifting under them. They have Michael Fasusi, who was the number 1 tackle last year, as a 5-star guy. I don't ever want true freshman linemen out there. I'm sorry, I just don't. Especially like you were talking about
And
Michigan.
SEC.
Like that level, the NFL level talent is way different than playing Under Armour All-American football.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Yeah, well, we got a 5-star. We got the number 2 offensive tackle last year, and Andrew Babaloa, and he's a 5-star, and he plays left
We went on
tackle.
him.
But
sorry.
yeah, I'm not. I'm not
that
big
level,
on
you see it.
linemen. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with a freshman offensive lineman. I'm just not. Although Andrew Sprague last year was a freshman right tackle. End of the year though, he played like the last 2 games. Yes, he played really well. He played great actually, but
Well,
it
and
took a year.
I look at like the experience level of those teams, and like I keep bringing it back to Texas just because it's a familiar opponent or what and whatnot. But Texas had, I think, at one time their offensive line, and it was around this number. It was within 1 or 2 games, but they had like 85 starts as a group together. Those 5 guys, and so like they started like 2 of them started as true freshmen, and I think the rest were sophomores at the time, and they just play. So like when you have that much experience together, you're just going to play that much better because your familiarity with each other and trust is built up, and you just know it. It's familiar. Whereas you look at us and we're just like throwing true freshmen out there, just bodies that they weren't ready yet.
We were literally
and it's not
throwing
like,
out bodies.
yeah, it's like, and
Just
so
anybody who could strap on their cleats.
it's hard to get
was
mad
getting
at them
playing
at
time.
some point, but like they just weren't ready, and so it's just probably like y'all felt. It's like you're fighting with an arm behind your back almost. Like it's like, man, if we could just have someone that could facilitate the offense for us, if you're Michigan, y'all would have been fantastic.
We went through.
Whereas, like,
we went through 3 quarterbacks. and no one could help us. No one could help us. You know, it was
We
like
went through two,
insane to
but-
watch it.
Flipped.
It got so bad that in the Tennessee game, I'll never forget, Michael Hawkins just completes a slant route that this and Jaquez Petaway, who transferred out, just breaks a tackle and runs for like 40 yards, and we're like, this guy throws like Baker. It's unbelievable. And it's like, it was a slant route. Like, I mean, it's something that should be like a basic throw to start the game.
Right.
And it was just so bad that it was.
We just
Yeah.
needed something to be hopeful
Yeah,
for.
you're starving
And then-
for it. I know. Go on.
No,
Oh no, I was like, I mean, start Jackson Arnold. He gets pulled Tennessee. Michael Hawkins plays, then he gets pulled. We go back to Jackson Arnold. It was a rough year. And again, I want to give them some leeway because they were playing with a terrible stack of cards. Like they're playing Uno, and all their colors are red, and you're not getting any reds there. Like I said Uno because I don't know anything about
that's so
poker or
funny.
anything like that.
Playing Uno.
I work
Uno.
with kids too,
Yeah.
so we play Uno.
All right, it's all right. I like Uno.
That was a great game.
And it was just, and I mean, they got a lot of the blame, but in reality, if you just don't have if you don't have your guys, I mean, it's just gonna make it worse. If you're having to run for your life because your offensive line is patchy, injured, so you don't even have time to throw. The people you're throwing to aren't supposed to be on the field. They're supposed to be backups, third string, and then heaven forbid you actually have time to get a throw and you throw it, they drop it. Because they're just not in that position. And it was just, oh my gosh, it was such a long year.
I feel like you're just like,
And
look, I
watched
get
every
it.
second.
I feel like
Yeah,
you're preaching to the choir. Yeah.
I mean, if
we
our
have-
defense didn't score, as I'm sure you know as well, like we didn't have a shot.
We felt like Iowa for like 4 games there.
We were the Oklahoma Hawks.
Yeah.
I bet like y'all are probably like, please,
Iowa
Will
had a
Johnson,
better
pick
offense
six.
than we did.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my
Yeah.
god, dude. Like because we also had like some like when our quarterback got it to the receiver, Kendrick Bell would drop it or Samaj would drop it, and it's like holy, like come on, guys, you know. But yeah, I mean this year it should be, we hope it should be different. I mean it should be a lot better. You know, we have a good quarterback and offensive coordinator's experience, so we'll see. So all right, here's a question I have for you guys: is what are your strengths that we should be aware of, and then tell us your weaknesses that we should be aware of.
Strengths are certainly defensive line. Jaden Jackson's back. He was probably the number 1 freshman D lineman last year. Was an All-American. Really, if you look at the Pro Football Focus numbers, we were I think top 5 against the run and yards per attempt, and we played some of the best rushing offenses in the country. Venables is now, granted, the difference is going to be you had a Danny Stutzman who had been in that system forever. He knew how to get people aligned. And you had Billy Bowman back there as well, helping with alignment. And also Ethan Downs was very good. Ethan Downs wasn't a guy that is ever going to be a long-term NFL Sunday guy, but in the college game, he was so disciplined in what he did that he helped. I mean, he
Ethan
would
Downs
make
was
plays.
always one of my favorite players because he did his job
really well.
He was never flashy. He was never, like Chad mentioned earlier, who are those like sneaky guys that only fans really know about. And to me, that was Ethan Downs because when you needed him, he was there.
Yeah.
It seemed like he never was out of position. He was a leader too, a very vocal leader. So losing somebody like that just does their role and does it consistently is always hard to.
And there's one position that I will say that I will say Oklahoma will be the best in the country at, if not defensive line. And it depends on one thing, health. Like with it at cornerback, we have Eli Bowen coming back, who was the guy that as a true freshman, he was locking up. Although Ryan Williams had that that was a catch, by the way, in the OU Alabama game that they said he was out or something, or he had that crazy catch right before half or something. Yeah. But other than that, he had 2 interceptions, or I think he had like 3 interceptions on the year, playing as a true freshman, starting, was locking people up. And then on the other side, 2 years ago, we had a guy named Gentry Williams, who is a legitimate first-round, first-day talent at corner. He's from Booker T. Washington here in the Tulsa area of Oklahoma. And he has had a shoulder issue. He didn't play at all last year. But he was a guy, if you watched the 2 years ago when OU won the Red River, he was the one that had the interception, Quinn Ewers' first throw, her first drive. He is one of the most talented defensive players OU's had in decades. It's just for whatever reason he's had this lingering shoulder, and he's a 6'2" guy, big. He's not he's an elite athlete. If those 2 guys are healthy and able to play, it'll be a problem for receivers to get open in any way. OU's defense, and I'm sure y'all feel the same way at Michigan. Like they have a chance to be really, really, really good, really good. And obviously, offense, I hate, I want to say Mateer, until I do have that a little bit about me until they do it at this. although I think he will, until he does it. If he goes out in Michigan and throws for 350, 80
Yeah.
yards rushing and I'll say, look, there's no. If he does it against that defense, he can do it against any SEC defense. But if he
Right.
goes out there against someone, it's a tough scene. I mean, that could just be how good y'all are. So I don't want to say it's not that he's good, but it's just I want
Yeah.
to see him play a legit team before I start giving flowers at that, that
Yeah,
level.
and
That's-
I'm excited too about having Deion Burks back
Yeah.
because he was definitely a talent, and when he went out, you saw how much it affected us. So I'm hopeful that he will be healthy the entire year. Also, because I'm hopeful we can have a competent wide receiver in one way or another. So he's another one that I would say that would be a strength
Right.
for us. And if we could get Jaden Gibson back or Javani Gibson, either
Yeah.
Gibson, we could get either one of them healthy and ready to go. I think they should be.
Just so Giovanni Gibson, just so you know, TJ was a transfer from Arkansas Arkansas Pine Bluff. And was a guy that had set a lot of records last year in the lower level football, and then comes to Oklahoma, and by all accounts has been just killing it. And you see these clips come out of him just jumping, and I'm talking, he's doing like backflips into the end zone, a freak athlete. He's like 6'3", 230, but built. And then he like breaks his ankle randomly one day at practice. But, I mean, they
Okay.
said that. Venable says he'll be back, hopefully week 1. I'm sure he'll be week 2 if he even is back.
We're
I don't-
just
yeah.
after last year, we're not hopeful. We
And I'm
kept
like,
hearing
great,
people
another
would-
receiver
We just
that's
kept
not gonna
hearing
play.
people would be back, and then they never were. So
But what were you about to say something on the Mateer stuff, playing a good
Well, yeah.
defense and all
So
that?
I mean, the thing about John Mateer is his competition he's faced, right? So like,
Mhm.
I think I saw a stat where when he played against Power 4 level teams, like he was at like 59% completion. Now that could be a byproduct of his offensive line, byproduct of this cast around him. I mean, listen,
Yeah,
I just
fair.
and so everyone knows my position. You guys remember we were talking during the transfer portal. I was like, no, stay away from John Mateer because I wanted him.
Yeah. I remember.
I was hoping we got him. I knew it was not likely, but yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan, but it comes down like, how does he handle
Mhm.
this defense and how does he handle the pressure? And
You'll love this story. Sorry to interrupt you there, but so his
Okay.
first press conference at OU, like he comes in, and he sits down, and he kind of just looks up and he goes, "Man, it's a lot of cameras." Just kind of like
yeah,
I'm not at Washington State anymore. Like I'm at a
right.
big time
Yeah,
SEC team.
So and so I guess the question's kind of fair. Like, how does he handle the pressure of that
Right.
game in front of those and in the lights and nationally televised? And it's like this game is big time.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
we're
right.
like the way it's not going to be on ESPN, right? And the way
Mhm.
that this is going to be promoted, like you said, College Game Day is going to be there. I mean, all the attention's going to be on this game. So I'm glad the time came out. We have a night game, so it's going to be pretty
Yes.
epic. And
Are you going to be able to make it? I can't remember if you said
no,
you could or not.
unfortunately, as it stands, I'm not. I mean, if you guys got a plane ticket and a ticket to the game, let me know. But
Yeah.
as it stands, no. But hey, when you guys come to Ann Arbor, maybe we can make something happen. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be epic though. I mean, that's one I would love to go to. Like, that's a good
Yeah.
one. So,
We're hoping to maybe go to the big house next year whenever we play there. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
you have to
Y'all's
now.
stadium is one that I want to see just because obviously it's how just the tradition really, but also like it'd be wild to see like that many people in one stadium.
We had an Ohio State fan. Shout out to Doreen. She's not here. She actually watches our show all the time. She's cool. And she
one in every
even
crowd.
said she thinks our stadium's better than theirs. Like we have a beautiful stadium. It's really special. But yeah, I mean that's what makes it fun though. We have two blue bloods going at it. There's a lot of big brands, Jordan schools, which is interesting.
Ooh, that is
I'm excited about it. What's your guys' thoughts? I guess we can kind of get into maybe predictions. Like, how do you guys think it's going to go?
That's
Score
about it.
predictions. What's your thoughts on that?
I'll predict OU to win just because I hope I'm banking on, and I'm laying out my car. I'm banking on them. I'm banking on Mateer being as good as we all at Oklahoma hope he is.
Yeah.
Simply because I have to, if I'm gonna have any way to get through the summer. I'll pick OU to win. I don't know scores. Oh man, I'm not good at. Their defenses are both so good. Like even if you have a good offense, like you could.
I think it'd probably be a game that's like the highest scoring is in the 20. Like high scoring is like 20.
Like 20. I would 24, like 20
yeah,
probably.
something like that.
Okay.
But I mean, Michigan could beat us by. Michigan could score 30, 40, or it could be, it could be 6-3.
Yeah.
who knows?
So I was
hope it's not
thinking.
6-3.
Yeah, I was thinking 27, like 17, Michigan.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but it
fair.
could be like 2014. Like it just.
Mhm.
It's going to be, it's going to be a tough game. I think the defenses are going to be really the determining factor. But I mean, actually, it might just be whose offense can get points.
Right.
You
I
know?
think it's going to
Yeah.
probably come down to like a lot of like just like the big plays, not necessarily like the chipping away type. You see Iowa doing, you know, like, or Army, not Iowa, but I guess Iowa too. Like those 3.5 plays. Like I see it's going to be, it's like nobody's getting anything, and finally somebody just breaks it off for like a long pass, or you know, just makes a hole that it's, I don't know, like.
And with it being a week 2 game, it's who's gonna make the least amount of mistakes. It's because you're not really settled into the season yet. You know, like who can not have the false starts and the negative plays starting the game.
Plus being the first night game.
Right. I mean, who can handle that really? And it's even like it's even fair for a Bryce Underwood critique. It's like, can he handle the expectation of you're the guy? And sorry, my
Your
bad.
second night game.
Yeah, we have a night game the week before.
But
who?
Okay, exactly.
No, I'm not. No. I'm not saying it's.
kidding.
No, I'm just saying it's another night.
No,
game.
I know.
We're gonna be used to that. At least the routine of a night game is what I mean.
Right, that's true.
No, it's not gonna be some. It's not gonna be some test. I think we have I can't remember. New Mexico
State.
Yeah.
Juju
is
again.
on it.
We need a Juju.
Oh,
in the-
Juju,
in the-
dude. Juju's
We
the
do, we
savage.
have Harry.
unbelievable.
We have
pretty
a
good.
community of
Oh, yeah, that's
savages.
true. We have here, yeah. Dude,
crazy.
Juju's been on. I wanted to say,
Yeah.
GT, thanks for the comment and super chat earlier. I appreciate it. We hope y'all have a good year, except for week 2 as well.
No,
We hope y'all totally collapse.
We hope
week
y'all
two.
all get there safely and all your players are safe and healthy, and then you get back to Ann Arbor with a loss.
Speaking of which, how do you feel about your coach's self-suspension
Imposed.
self-imposed for weeks 3 and 4?
Brilliant, by the way, by him.
Brilliant.
oh yeah, that's hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the fan base is torn on it. There's a lot of the fan base who's like, "F it, just fight it," you know, like don't. But in my opinion, it's to lessen the blow of like, because what I think is going to happen. So this is for Signgate for anyone who's unfamiliar, because we have a couple scandals, you know. So Burgergate, Signgate. And
Yeah,
it does get
burgers,
confusing. Like even us who follow it are like, which one's this one for? You know, like we literally just went through a 4-week recruiting like stoppage over Burgergate. So that is now officially behind us. That happened in May. So we're done with Burgergate. But now
I can't
we
believe
have
that's real
Signgate.
thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, so now we have Signgate, and I'll be honest, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it because what's going to happen is I think the NCAA is going to want 4 games. So Michigan's going to do their 2 this year. It's going to be 2 more next year, you know, the year after. And then I think that'll be it for Sharon Moore. I think Michigan's about to get a major fine. I think Michigan's about to get some recruiting violations. But I don't think it's going to be, and I think like Jim Harbaugh, Connor Stallions, and my guy, Chris Partridge, I think they're going to get some show causes. So I think that's going to happen. But I don't think it's going to be like vacating of wins, vacatings of national titles, Big
Right.
Ten championship. I don't think that's happening. I just
More
don't.
of like, I hate saying slap on the wrist, but when you have a billionaire supporting you, a fine
Yeah.
probably isn't.
Well, you know what? If the NCAA wanted to build like some goodwill, like if they would just say like, look, Sharon Moore played, you know, took us 2 games, and they would just be like, we're done with it. Like they could earn so much just goodwill with the fan base. Like,
Do you guys know why he's getting these suspensions? Are you guys aware of like what this is?
no.
So he had 52 text messages between him and Connor Stallions that he deleted. Okay. But they were recovered and they found nothing on the text messages. But because he simply deleted it, he's getting suspended for it.
They're like making some like assumption.
Isn't that wild though? Like there's
Yeah.
nothing. So like the tampering of evidence, right? That's kind of like what it's for.
Yeah.
But there was nothing on the messages. So like in my opinion, and yeah, I'm a Michigan fan, but like if there is nothing on the messages between Connor Stallions and Sharon Moore, how much is there?
Yeah.
Right? Because like what the NCAA wants is like, oh well, the whole staff was in on this, and a lot of us just don't believe that. You know, like
I don't. Yeah.
No, I understand. I mean,
Uh,
DeMarco Murray had some self-imposed.
For recruiting, yeah, some
so
recruiting.
again,
It
like
was like a text or a
another
message
text.
again.
It's like, come on, dude.
yeah,
You know, we have some major tampering issues, but heaven forbid you text a kid
It's ridiculous.
that's on your team.
yeah.
or,
And it's
like,
only if
you're
they
a
find out.
recruit.
It happens all the time. Like I've heard from recruits that you know, like if they're a junior, you're not supposed to be contacted until like I think September 5th or something like that. But these kids are getting contacted all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no. I mean, there's no real
or even
regulation
in
on it.
they're going through a friend. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like
A trainer.
Yeah, or like
Family
oh,
friend.
this is he went to Joey's high school, Let's Joey
Yeah.
text that one kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can find ways around it. Like, if you were to text him and tell him this, I wish we could, that kind of stuff. I married a lawyer. I'm over here like technicalities. Where's the fine print?
But you're right though, and it's even been hard trying to keep up with just the NIL, everything NIL related, because there's so many different. Like now, the NCAA, I don't know if you saw Tennessee come out and say, "Yeah, we don't care about any settlement. We'll do what we want. Y'all can't tell us what to do."
Yeah, what is it? Their attorney general said, "We'll challenge the NCAA." I wish we had that,
because technically it's not a court order, so it's not binding. It's just an agreement, and you don't technically have to opt into it. And they're just like, "Yeah, no," until Congress says we can or can't. Which, as Gregory Stewart said, NCAA is about as popular as Congress. It's just going to be tough for him, but
right. Juju asked us a question: are y'all worried about all the weight of your head coach calling defense and being CEO? More times than not, it's a lot on your shoulders. He had one of the hardest bars of all time. We talk about it in one press conference. He said, "Why am I calling defense? Because I'm good at it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had Ted Roof, he brought in, but Venables is calling defense.
Right.
We had Zach Alley last year, and I think a huge reason he left is because Venables was still in charge, and he wanted to have more of that freedom or
control, really.
Control. Thank you. That is the word I'm looking for. So I'm not really worried about it so much because doesn't Sark do it for offense for Texas? Is he pretty much the? I mean, and then Riley the same thing with offense and being a head coach. So I think it can be done, and I'm really not. Again, I'm not worried about the defensive side of the ball. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Also, there's the hiring of Jim Nagy was, I think, a really, really big for Oklahoma. He's now the kind of the talent scout, and he goes out and finds a lot of the recruits that we are bringing in from the portal or offering now. And it's taken a lot of that stress and responsibility off of BV, where he's been able to really focus on the defense. And I think for him, it's weird. Like it's like in life, whenever you get really good at something, you do less of it because you have more responsibilities in other areas. And for him, it's like he got really good. He became a really good defensive coordinator, and because of that, got the head coaching gig at Oklahoma. And it's like he's had to step away from just doing what he knows really well. I mean, it's like you're running. You run the Voice of College Football. It's like you're a good podcaster, but the bigger this program gets, the less it's like the less time you have to actually podcast, and now you're having to actually, and it's like you get to a point where I just don't have time to do what I was really good at that got me to where I am. And for him, I think it's just been big to finally have the ability to say, look, I'm calling the defense. Everybody knows it. So, there we are. But
right. He asked, what is our punter kicker confidence? Yeah. To be determined.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is your kicker?
Same.
We had a Crimson Combine in place of our spring game. And apparently who we had kicking before, I think we just got in a new kicker. Apparently whoever was out there doing kicking drills and punting drills, people thought it was just fans out there giving it a shot. So it was not good.
Right.
But we did have another transfer portal guy come in, which I think he only missed 2 from under 50.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We got saved in the spring portal. So hopefully, I think it's Tate Sandell was his name. He was from UTSA. So I don't know. He was 17 for 18 from 49 yards or fewer, and then had a career long of 54 yards. He was 19 of 23 in the last 2 years, it looks like. So I mean, it from what we saw apparently from the spring, the little Crimson Combine we had, it's a dream. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate.
No, sorry.
Oh, you just tied it.
Oh, you just tied the game
in
the top of the 7th with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Yeah. So for those who
they just hit a home run.
Magic.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I don't think our fan base knows. So OU softball's in the game right now, guys. So they're going through it.
They're in the. Yeah, they're trying to get to the national championship. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So sorry.
I knew TT was not going to be able to hold that in, so I thought I'd just cut in front of him yelling.
I saw a bunch of, so I'm streaming, so I'm behind, and I saw on Chad's laptop a bunch of messages come through from our family, which usually only means good things.
Yeah.
So I am so sorry. I apologize to everybody listening.
You're good.
But,
you're good.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to say I didn't see that coming, but.
So wait, what inning is it?
Softball does some crazy stuff. It's in the top of the 7th. We only had this one at bat left, and we were down 2-0. And Najee Kennedy is a phenomenal pitcher for Texas Tech. Phenomenal. She's the first $1 million player for women's sports. I mean, she's phenomenal.
You can tell where T's passionate. She knows the song. She knows it.
I love
And
football,
Jim,
but
yeah.
it's hard to talk about it to me when I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
You know
that's
what I
fair,
mean?
that's fair. Yeah.
Like, I drank so much of the Kool-Aid last year that now I'm like, I'm gonna sit back.
I'm back in it. I'll do it. I do it. I do it every year. Every year I
Yeah.
say I'm done with this, and then every year, well, at least y'all have won a natty in the last 25 years.
Yeah, I was like 5 or 6 last
I
time.
know.
Like,
It's so nice.
It's got to feel amazing. I just can't I'm a
Well,
Dallas
we-
Cowboy fan too, and it's just like I was too young, and I'm 20. I'm 33. Oh my gosh, I almost said I'm 20 something. I'm 33. So like I was a baby when they were like one of the greatest teams ever
Yeah.
that I don't
Yeah.
remember, and they've just been a letdown my entire life.
dang.
Yeah.
And then Oklahoma wins in 2000, and now it's just
See,
been
this is why I support women's
heartbreak
sports at
after
OU.
heartbreak.
The softball teams wins natties, gymnastics wins natties, women's basketball is usually. I mean, they haven't really won it. They haven't won any championships, but they're usually competitive, so they tend to get my
Yeah.
hopes up.
So
But
our
anyway,
fan
sorry,
base,
I
our fan
digress.
base got bit last off season because we drank the Kool-Aid hard. Like, we thought.
Well, you
we
just
thought
won a
the offense-
natty.
I know. We thought the offense was going to be much better than that. Like, because there was like, oh, Davis Warren's throwing like 80% completions in practice, and Alex Orji's throwing motions improved, and da. And it's like, no, right tackle
There's
was
no-
strong, and we got burnt bad. Like a lot of the fan base has like PTSD over it. Like that's why like we're trying to take a mindful approach going into this training camp, because I'm sure we're going to be hearing positives, but when you have
but
Bryce
isn't that
Underwood,
part of yeah, and that's part of the fun, man. Like it's what it's part of. It's why like I love football. It's like I buy into it, but I'm a fan. Like some
Yeah.
things, and I hate to put it like this, but it's like some things aren't like life and death. Like be able to enjoy them and get hyped up irrationally. Like dang, like I love it. I love it every year. I'm like I think I will convince myself by week 2 that we could beat
Probably
2019
will.
LSU if we really had all the pieces working.
I will convince myself by
something stupid
especially
like that.
if we
Yeah.
take down Michigan, I will be searching up like where the national championships are held,
Yeah.
how much flights and hotels are. Like I'm deep
like, yeah.
in the
Yeah.
travel planning.
dude, this game is going to be like either fan base is going to be like, oh, we're going to the playoffs. Like we're gonna be a damn juggernaut this year, So I don't know, how's the rest of your guys' schedule look? I mean,
So
you
we
guys
have the
feel
hardest schedule in the United States. Like that's not even like me being hyperbolic. Like
Yeah, on 3, USA Today, the coaches
Really?
rated ours
all
hardest.
have
Yeah,
rated us the hardest.
we play 6 of the top 10 teams. I think it's wild. It's I know
looking it
like on 3 and a couple other ones have.
We're getting fact checked live.
That's fine.
Well, I just want to see it. No. I
No,
just want to
it's
see
crazy.
it
That's
because
kinda what I was-
we actually look at schedules all the time. Here, I'll share it so this way our audience can check it out. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
our,
per
our
ESPN,
schedule
my
is so
bad.
tough that people have already saying if OU can win 9 games and lose 3, like they can still have a shot of getting into.
So here we
playoffs.
go.
It just
We
dep-
play-
especially depending if you only lose by like a small margin.
in the SP top 25, we play number 2. Is number 2 Alabama, number 5 Texas, number 9 LSU, number 10 Michigan, number 11 Ole Miss, 13 Tennessee, 17 South Carolina, 21 Missouri, 25 Auburn. For comparison, Oklahoma's rival Texas will face only 5 opponents in the top 25. It's just like,
yeah,
but again, it really all depends on where, like, what ranking system you look at and what you value. Like, end of the day, you're gonna have to win games.
Sorry,
Like,
the comments.
you gotta win
We're so
games.
honest. Thank you.
oh yeah. I mean, they've broken my heart enough. We can be harsh with them. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like a.
No, and I think I really loved last year though because we had so many new teams come in, like the atmospheres.
Oh,
the,
dude, it was awesome.
The atmosphere before the Tennessee game, I can't remember having that type of like energy in Norman in a long time.
Yeah.
Like
It'll
truly.
be for Michigan
And-
fans. It'll be.
Yeah,
y'all will
and so
really
I think
enjoy it,
I think for Michigan it's going to be a lot of the same way, and the same too with I believe Alabama, and then that energy was even better when we
Yeah.
actually ended up pulling out that win.
yeah.
There's a lot of really cool things around the stadium though. Like for anyone going to the game, and I'm sure like we'll do another show like actually leading up into the
we
game
will.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
Norman is a really really cool college town. There's a lot to do. It's kind of closely put together. And for the most part, I mean, like every fan base, there's idiots out there. But for the most part, I mean,
Very nice.
Oklahoma fans are pretty good people, pretty nice people. So like,
It's funny because speaking of, I mentioned the Tennessee fans.
Mm-hmm.
I know like, I heard several fans be like, everybody's so nice here. Like it was just so weird to them. And like there was a group of guys like, everybody's so nice here. I wish somebody would just cuss me out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're like, you're probably not gonna get that until like, I mean, maybe after the game when people have been inebriated for a while with some
Right.
men. But for the
Is
most
there-
part, like right now, everybody's gonna be pretty nice.
Is there drinking at your stadium?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you got to pay like
Oh,
$15.
$14 for a high noon.
$15.53
$15.53.
for a high
It's
noon.
crazy. It's crazy.
I just, you know,
Look,
I
I'm. You may or may not be able to sneak in pocket shots. I may or may not have successfully
Yeah.
done it. You can buy flasks that look like lotion bottles. I'm just saying.
for like for Oklahoma season though, for like Michigan fans, and then I gotta wind it up here in a second.
yeah.
But I think for our season is just comes down to is the hope realized? Like, does what we hope our offense turn into? Does it actually turn into that? And if it does, you know, we'll be a really good team again. It'll be, you know, an Oklahoma of old. If it doesn't, then it'll be, you know, another tough season
The
for
biggest thing about this year
it'll be Brent Venables' last season
Okay,
as head
thank you.
coach at
That's what
Oklahoma.
I was literally about to say.
Yeah. It'll be
That
his
means
last
You have
season.
a head coach who's fighting for his job.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, at the end of the day, that's really it. But I'm, you know, that's kind of where I'm at, and until then, you just don't know. I don't want to. It'd be hard for me to get up here and just say, but we have John Mateer. He hadn't until he does it at the SEC level, which again, maybe I'm not saying he can't, and that sounds contradictory, I know, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. I'm not, you know, it's like Bryce Under. It's a question mark, but I think more of a question mark for a high school to college kid than it is a kid that's played college ball and moving up a little bit. But Bryce Underwood's going to have great players around him, you know. And again, it's not saying he can't be great. It's just what is a, you know, you're I don't want to put material on this. He's going to be, you know, Kyle or Baker Mayfield, you know, or something like that. And
I don't think we
that's
need him to
unfair.
be.
And we don't. Yeah, exactly right.
I mean,
yeah.
we've talked about it. If our defense, and I'm same with Michigan. If our defense would have been mid,
Offense.
Sorry, if our offense would have been mid, it's like just average at best.
Yeah.
Like you're saying.
Totally different season.
Playoffs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we had John Mateer though. So I mean, you guys should be in a good. You guys should be in a good position. I mean, not that I'm not happy with Bryce Underwood. I want a veteran for my freshman quarterback. I'd like to play both quarterbacks, right? But yeah, I mean, you're right though. I mean, we're in the same position. Like
go.
I'm very our boy Garrison from the Ohio State channel.
There we go, Garrison.
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm optimistic, but I don't know. I don't know how Bryce is going to handle it.
Yeah.
You know, I have no idea. So it's going to come down to that. So quite honestly, the game's probably going to come down to our quarterback play.
Yeah.
Both teams.
Yeah.
You know,
because we both are pretty confident in our defenses. Like defenses travel, and y'all are gonna have y'all have, I'm sure, a lot of. Well, you lost some people, but Michigan's
we did.
known for defense. Y'all got guys, and you're gonna have guys returning that you trust. And I think it's weird. Like both the questions are quarterback, offensive line for us, like quarterback, offensive line for you, and not that like more the quarterback. Not really questions in terms of talent. Questions and prove it. You know, like let's see it. And then the wide receivers as well, like, you know, and they have the talent, the potential. It's just show me kind of.
You got Burks though. I wish we had Burks.
Yeah, Burks is he's got it. But again, like, you know, played I think 3 games last year, the whole season. It's he's out. But all right, we got to call it. I hate to shut it down early. I keep going forever if I had time. Man, I want to thank you, TJ, for hopping on. I know I know you're busy and it's not always the easiest to schedule these things. And I want to thank T for she set up a lot of it and kind of took initiative on reaching out and stuff, and want to give her credit. Marriage tip, by the way, to all the guys out there that are with somebody. Give the credit.
Nice.
Still researching, getting other schedules set up. So if you enjoyed this preview, Sooner fans, or even Michigan fans, if you just thought we were cool enough, you can join us again. We're going to have some Texas people on for the Ohio State here. You are playing them too, so if you want to hear what they have to say about the Texas team that you'll be playing next year, we will be live with the Ghost of Texas football next Monday, and then we're going to continue with trying to get some more people lined up. But those are the next one we have scheduled.
Yeah, TJ, shout out I know most of the people in here are your channel already, but let you fans know where to find you and all that.
So even so, you know, shout out to the community. Our community does travel well, especially when we do these types of, you know, cross episodes. But give our Oklahoma channel a subscribe, guys, and you know, let's support our, you know, Tyranny and Chad as well. And yeah, you can find me on Michigan at the Voice of College Football. We do our live show Tuesday 8 p.m. with myself and John D'Adamo. That's our Michigan Wolverines live. And then Thursday we have the call-in show, which we got to get you guys doing a call-in show. But we have we got Michigan Wolverines call-in show on Thursdays 8 p.m. with myself and Johnny Olden. So look out for that. Appreciate it. Any Oklahoma fans, you're always welcome. We have a lot of Buckeyes who watch our show because even though they're rivals, we just talk ball. You know, it's all respectful, all love. So everyone's welcome. We would really appreciate Oklahoma fans to come over because, like, we have a lot to talk about from now until week 2. And I do hope, and I hope, I'm quite confident we'll do another show probably the week of the game. So we'll talk more then. And good luck until week 2, and then week 2.
Yeah.
And then good luck
very
after.
hard L. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Like, subscribe,
yeah.
please. I know we've said it, but I'm gonna say it again.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, Boomer.
Go Blue.